Welcome back, folks. House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 6, titled Smallfolk. Operation Dragon Seed is in full force. Aemon Targaryen has a firm grip on the Green Council. We get more Daemon Targaryen weirwood visions, but this time it seems like they're actually going somewhere, whilst Rhaenyra is playing the long game, trying to win the support of the people of King's Landing. Guys, I think this episode is back to formula, with a lot of character growth, solid plot, whilst ending on a major hook, which I think was missing from episode 5, and that left many frustrated. So House Lannister has joined the fray. Lord Jason Lannister marches an army of 1,000 knights and 7,000 archers and men-at-arms to the Golden Tooth, but he's unwilling to advance to Harrenhal without the protection of Aemon on Vhagar. And guys, at this point, Vhagar seems to be the win button. Everybody fears Granny Godzilla. Everybody knows that Vhagar is #1 dragon. But of course, Aemon doesn't take this summon all too well. He will go in his own time. So for now, the Lannister army will have to settle at the Golden Tooth, west of Harrenhal. And of course, I don't need to explain to you how important House Lannister are. They're the great house of the Westerlands. Lord Jason is the Warden of the West, and his twin brother Tyland is the Master of Coin. But I don't think at this point in history they don't command the same power and status during Game of Thrones with Tywin Lannister at its head. But they're another powerful ground army on Team Green. And as of right now, Rhaenyra doesn't have one. She doesn't have a ground force. She's waiting on Daemon rallying the Riverlords. This scene was mostly just set up for what's to come, a battle involving the Lannister army and their bannermen. But we do see a couple of caged lions. I suppose the Targaryens have their dragons, the Starks have their direwolves, the Lannisters have brought their own spirit animals. And I think we should all place bets on who is getting mauled by one, if not all, of those oversized kitty cats. And how ironic would it be if it was Lord Jason himself? So yes, the Greens are getting stronger and stronger every single week. Aemon, unlike his brother Aegon, is fully in control of the Green Council. He commands Tywin Lannister to ally the crown with the Triarchy of the Free Cities to combat the Velaryon blockade in the Gullet. He's not waiting around for the Red Kraken of the Greyjoys to decide which side he will stand with. But this is a short-term solution, as the Triarchy are not true allies, because they're the same faction that waged war on the Stepstones during the reign of Viserys I. But for now, their ships will do. They need some naval power to combat the Velaryon fleet. In this episode, Aemon has been a very busy regent. He sends Sir Criston Cole to Harrenhal with the Hightower host, because Aemon knows how crucial Daemon Galler and the Riverlords at Harrenhal is to the Black's cause. And for Aemon, Daemon is the final boss, his true test. With Vhagar, he's the most powerful force in the realm, but deep down I think Aemon knows he can't be #1 until he defeats his uncle. It's almost like he idolizes him, but he wants to be superior, and defeating him in Caraxes is the only way. He's also commanded Clubfoot Larys Strong to bring back Otto Hightower, and for a moment Larys thought he was being named Hand of the King. But this is a smart move by Aemon. He's got a proven track record, and ever since he's left, it's kind of been a shambles in King's Landing. And it was Aegon that removed his grandfather as Hand, with the counsel of Larys Strong, who clearly desires the job of not only the foot, but the hand. And this episode, Larys plays a very prominent role, and he shares a rather surprising heart-to-heart moment with his king. He even shed a tear, recollecting the story of how he came into this world with a healthy set of lungs but a twisted foot that his father believed was down to witchcraft from a certain healer at Harrenhal, who I suppose is Alice Rivers. And how long has this woman been alive? So what else has Aemon done? He's removed his mother, Alicent Hightower, from the Green Council. At this point, no one's listening to her. Her relationship with Cole seems finished. She has no control whatsoever over Aemon, and what little she had over Aegon means nothing now. He's hanging on for dear life, and he does tell Aemon he has no memory of what happened at Rook's Rest. But after Aemon put the fear of God in his older brother, I kind of feel that Aegon is lying, and will keep quiet to save his own skin, or what's left of it. But he does receive some solid advice from Larys to use his handicap to his advantage, just like Larys has done very successfully. His body is broken, but he still has his mind. Many will underestimate him now, as they'll see him as nothing more than a cripple. He's also advised them not to overdo it on the milk of the puppy, as that will dumb down his mind. And right now, many will want Aegon dead. And if fate doesn't take Aegon, I'm sure someone will take it into their own hands. But back to Alicent, we actually get a bit of light in her dark story. Her brother Sir Gawain tells her of her fourth child, Daeron, who's been warden in Old Town. He's 16, but Alicent doesn't know him because he's been gone most of his life. They don't really keep in contact much as they done in the past, but to Alicent's relief, her brother informs his sister that Daeron is kind, unlike Aemond and Aegon. Like I said, a very small light and a pretty dark episode for Alicent. And that's before her and Helaena get caught up in a riot triggered by Rhaenyra sending aid to the Smallfolk of King's Landing. Yes, Mysaria's plan is working. The everyday people of King's Landing see the Greens as living in abundance. Whilst they starve, they fight to survive. Rhaenyra may have lost a dragon and its rider, she has no army, but she's winning the hearts of the people. And I kind of like how House of the Dragon is incorporating this part of war into its show, whereas the later seasons of Game of Thrones didn't really care at that point. There was no consequences for characters' actions. Cersei blew up the Sept, nobody cared. King's Landing went into lockdown during the winter, hardly mentioned. But House of the Dragon has done this extremely well, very positive, as it's an important element of the Song of Ice and Fire universe, making the conflict feel grounded and lifelike, making it feel like there are consequences. And even though Rhaenyra's aid is received with open arms, the people have to fight to feed their families. And Helaena and Alicent, like I said, are caught up in this riot, and naturally they become the target. Alicent has fish thrown at her, and at one point she uses her body as a shield to protect her daughter. And quick side note, Helaena is definitely a side character and she shows up every now and then. Most of her scenes are extremely important, some of them not so much. But when? When can we get Helaena and Dreamfire, her dragon, together? But overall, solid stuff in King's Landing. It shows us the war goes far beyond the Red Keep and the halls of Dragonstone. And I think one of the best improvements from Season 1 was making the Greens more interesting and perhaps even relatable. And quick Easter egg, many keen-eyed viewers believe they saw the first glimpse of an infamous character from the later part of the dance, the Shepherd, and they believe that's the man who grabbed Alicent and had his arm cut off. So let's leave King's Landing, head up to Harrenhal, and Daemon's dark dreams. This time we get the ghost of his brother, King Viserys. The first scene is a callback to when Viserys banishes his brother to the Vale after the infamous heir for a day joke. And the second is Daemon comforting his brother after his wife Emma died. To me it kind of seems like the first scene is what happened, but Daemon is reliving it. And the second is what Daemon should have done, or perhaps he wished he had done. No matter what, it's great to see Paddy Considine back. He was totally snubbed at the Emmys for the first season, and I think episode 8 last season was enough on its own for him to get at least a nomination. I know many people haven't enjoyed Daemon's arc this season. For me, I have very mixed feelings. The young Rhaenyra and Viserys stuff works very well, but we also had that travesty of last week with his mother, and I kind of feel Lena has been wasted because she just shows up, doesn't really do much. I want her to confront him about his lack of relationship with his daughters. There's still time for that, I suppose, but I think Daemon has to get moving. He was about to fly off on Caraxes, but Alice Rivers convinced him to wait it out, wait 3 days and see what happens. And of course, magically, the alien Lord Grover Tully has died, and his grandson Oscar is now Lord Paramount of the Riverlands, the same young boy that Daemon suggested speeding up his claim to just a few weeks ago. And speaking of Alice Rivers, she was the one that treated the late Lord Tully. She's totally done him off, and I suppose Daemon is in her debt now. And we're actually getting somewhere with this storyline. And I suppose the Riverlords, led by Oscar, will be back to treat with Daemon next week. But there's no doubt it won't be straightforward, and Daemon will have to work to get the Riverlord support. So jumping over to the Vale, and it looks like the leaks were true. Rhaena in the books has the dragon Morning, but this scene clearly shows us that she will encounter the wild dragon known as Sheepstealer, who in Fire and Blood was ridden by the dragon seed Nettles. And many fans are outraged by this. Nettles was an extremely popular character in Fire and Blood, and she was important to what Daemon's story will be in later seasons. I hope they haven't removed Nettles. Game of Thrones had many changes, certain storylines and characters were cut, some for better, some for worse. The same has happened for House of the Dragon so far, so I'm in a wait and see attitude for now. But guys, how cute was baby Stormcloud? But that also brings up another issue, because his size might be important in Season 3, but just like with Nettles, wait and see for now. Now, on to the main event and what we've all been waiting for, Operation Dragonseed. Jace and Rhaenyra's plan to bond the dragons to those who are loyal to their cause. First up is the dragon Seasmoke, once ridden by Laenor Velaryon. In the books, Dragonlore states that dragons won't take another rider until their current rider has died. So does that mean that Rhaenyra is dead? Remember, he fled in season 1 after an elaborate plan by Rhaenyra and Daemon to get him out of the picture. So has he died off screen? Or perhaps the show just doesn't care about dragon lore? Or perhaps Seasmoke just believes he's dead because he hasn't seen him in a while, and they're so far apart. But the dragon bond is extremely strong in the books, and even on the show so far. So I don't see how that would work. I suppose they could just forget about the lore, just accept it. Maybe just accept that Rhaenyra has died off screen, but this is a dangerous route to go down, because many die-hard book fans don't like these kind of changes. But anyway, Seasmoke has seen battle during the Stepstones, and he's even larger, and has become restless in his loneliness. He's a very dangerous dragon, and at this stage, it's safe to say that he has to be Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion's dad. And I know there's a heated debate because the books indicate Dreamfire is their mother, but the show leans towards Syrax. Possible the show has went down another path just to connect Rhaenyra and Daenerys. It's not a deal breaker for me, it's the show's canon, whatever, but if it is true, then it might cause some uproar. Because remember, the eggs that Rhaena took look very, very similar to Daenerys' eggs, and it's pushing me into that camp. And I bet you the final episode in season 4, whatever it's going to be, will reveal the fate of these eggs. The Targaryens have lost most of their dragons and their power, but these eggs are still out there, and all the dots will be connected. Anyway, Seasmoke's first potential rider is Sir Steffon Darkling. He's a member of the Black Kingsguard. His grandmother's grandmother was a Targaryen, supposedly, and he happily agrees to take the task, because who wouldn't want the glory of having their own dragon? But at this stage, no one other than the Targaryens, and those closely connected like Rhaenor and Laena, have claimed a dragon in Westeros. Well, obviously, it doesn't go to plan. Burns the night alive, alongside some dragon keepers. And quick Easter egg here, the song the dragon keepers sung is the same song that Daemon sang to Verma for in season 1. So it looks like Operation Dragonseed has failed. It's unlikely many more will be quickly to volunteer to be burnt alive. Lord Celtigar, who never misses the opportunity to undermine Rhaenyra, was always very critical of this plan. He calls her out. She gives him a good slap, tells him they have forgotten how to fear her. And perhaps like Daenerys, Rhaenyra needs to take Lady Olenna's advice and be a dragon. But guess what? Seasmoke takes matters into his own hands, claws, wings, and enter Corlys Velarion's bastards, Alan and Addam. Alan shaves his hair to hide his parentage, but Addam, unlike his brother, wants to embrace his heritage. Well, he just got his wish. He's minding his own business, but out of nowhere, he's pursued by Seasmoke. And voila, he is the latest dragon rider in the realm. News which, of course, reaches Rhaenyra. She doesn't know who claimed the dragon, but she heads out in Syrax to find out the truth. So we've got the next dragon rider. Well, actually, we almost had another one this episode. Mysaria has become very close to Rhaenyra, both as an ally and a friend. She tells her queen the story of how her father abused her, how she became pregnant, how she was cut and she can no longer bear any. And Mysaria promised herself to never trust anyone ever again, but now she's come to trust and believe in Rhaenyra Targaryen. It's obvious these two are becoming close. They start to kiss, and from that kiss, we can safely say Rhaenyra has definite experience with women before. And Fire and Blood heavily hints that her and Laena had something going on, but we never saw anything like that on the show. Of course, Mysaria and Rhaenyra are interrupted before they can jump into bed, but I don't think this is a closed matter. Right, I know many are raging at this, they're turning Rhaenyra bi, whatever. Suppose it was Emma Darcy's idea. This wasn't scripted, they just played it out on set, and I think it worked. It's not a big deal, and there are hints in the books. And it was kinda hot, but I'll leave it at that. But guys, let me know your thoughts on episode 6. I know most want to discuss Seasmoke's claiming, Daemon's dreams, and of course Rhaenyra and Mysaria's kiss. Most of it drove the plot forward, and I always appreciate solid character growth. And we got quite a lot in this episode, especially for characters you didn't expect. I think the standouts were Larys, Alicent, Rhaenyra and Mysaria, but I want to say almost every character advanced this week. You could classify this as another setup episode for the 2 remaining ones, but those will be bangers. Second to last episodes in the season are always major events, and Game of Thrones finales rarely disappoint. Anyways, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.